Hello, everyone. I wanted to take a moment and record a little demonstration, a little demo video of me resolving a Cadential 6/4 in 4 parts. So I have on my screen right now a setup of C minor, and we're doing a Cadential 6/4 resolving to a 5/7 chord in the very last measure to reach my cadence, my authentic cadence on 1. The Cadential 6/4 is preceded by a predominant chord. So we have my predominant, my dominant area is expanded through that Cadential 6/4, and then I have my resolution on tonic. So I like to start, since I have the Roman numerals given to me, I actually like to start with the Cadential 6/4 because that sets up my cadence and I know how that is all going to resolve. Remember, for the Cadential 6/4, we have some steps to think about when we're voicing and part writing this chord. The first step is to put sol in the bass. So I'm going to do that, and I'm in C minor, so the 5th scale degree, sol is G. Put that in the bass. I'm just going to continue this to the cadence. So by G, I'm going to do this characteristic octave leap in the bass line, sol, down to sol, and then resolve to do on the tonic chord. Now, one thing to keep in mind with proper voice leading, melodic motion, you want to keep your leaps usually within a 4th or less if you can, but an octave leap is acceptable. What we want to avoid are leaps that are dissonance, so no 7ths, no tritones, things like that. So I've completed step 1. I put my sol in the bass for the Cadential 6/4. Step 2, write a 6th and a 4th above the bass. So these are intervals above the bass. My 6th in C is my 6th above the bass, above sol, is E flat, and the 4th above the bass, above sol. Think about what that is my tonic. I'm going to choose to put tonic in the soprano part, and then I'm just going to voice the rest of the chord. So I'm going to put the E flat in the tenor, and that completes step 2. Our last step is to worry about the doubling, and in any 6/4 chord, any second inversion chord, we double the bass. So I'm going to double that G. And that completes step 3. Now, as I move on, I am simply going to follow my figured bass. Follow my figured bass that's given here. The octave above the bass, which is my G that's doubled, I'm going to move that down to the 7th, which is the F. My 6th above the bass was that E flat in the alto, and I'm going to move that down to a 5th above the bass, which is my D. So everything is moving down by step. And finally, my 4th above the bass, the C, is going to move down by step to the 3rd above the bass, which is B. I also need to remember that in a minor, we need the leading tone. And the leading tone is that raised scale degree 7. Scale degree 7 in C minor is B flat, but I want to raise it by a half step to make it B natural. That's my leading tone. So I need to put a natural symbol in front of that B in my 5/7 chord. I can simply finish this out now. I have a 5/7 chord with my 2 tendency tones in a 5/7 chord and a dominant 7th chord. The leading tone would resolve up to tonic. So that's in my soprano. The B natural goes up to C. And then the chordal 7th resolves down by step. And the chordal 7th is at the tenor, and I'll resolve that down to E flat. And I have an option here to either triple the bass, triple the C, or double the E flat in my alto, I'm going to choose to double the E flat. I don't want to move, I'm going to change this for a minute. I don't want to move that alto to a G, because if I should do that, I will have parallel fifths, and we don't want to do that. That's parallel fifths we want to avoid. So I'm going to erase this, avoid parallel fifths by either tripling that C or doubling the E flat here at the cadence. That happens anytime you have a perfect authentic cadence with a 5/7 chord that is fully spelled out. So in this case we have G, B natural, D, F. It's fully spelled out. It's a complete chord. So my one chord is going to be incomplete after that. And then finally I need to get into this cadential 6/4. I'm going to erase some of this notation, clean up my screen and a little bit. Okay. So my 2 half diminished 6/5 is a predominant chord. 2 in C is D, and I need this chord in first inversion. So D is the root, but F would be the third of the chord, which would go in the bass. This chord is spelled D, F, A flat C, so it's a 2/7 chord. In a minor key, our 2/7 chords are half diminished. So we have that D, F, A flat, half diminished, D, F, A flat, diminished triad with the D, C, which is a minor 7th on top of it. So now I need to kind of consider where I'm going. I noticed that in my soprano part, I do have a C. That's where I put my C in the cadential 6/4. So I'm going to retain that moving backwards here to the 2 half diminished 6/5. I'm going to just keep that C as a common tone. That's the 7th of my 2 half diminished 7th chord, and any 7th needs to resolve down. So as it continues on, there's my resolution down to the B natural. So that C is retained as the 7th of the 2/6/5 first. It's retained as the 4th of the cadential 6/4, and then eventually resolves down. My other voices, I need a D somewhere. So I see in my cadential 6/4, I put my E flat in that alto. I'm just going to back it up and proceed it with a D. And the only other pitch I need is my A flat, and I'll put that in my tenor so that it then steps down to the G in the cadential 6/4. So there is my complete solution to this predominant dominant tonic motion C minor, 2 half diminished 6/5 to the cadential 6/4, 5/7, and then resolving in a perfect authentic cadence here at the end.